It just takes a second.
Yeah, no worries.
I don't understand how it works, but I'm always grateful that it does.
Oh yeah, there we are.
Yeah, there we are. Fabulous. Okay. Good morning, you beautiful people. I hope that everyone is well. It's good to see everyone. Well, kind of, I can imagine that you are there enjoying yourselves and that life is good. We are joined this morning by the very beautiful and glamorous, I have to say, Mama G, how do you look like that first thing in the morning? It's unacceptable.
It's a lot of patience, my darling.
A lot of patience. Well, it's doing the job, and I feel a bit sad, but I haven't got sparkles on. So I'm going to be quiet now and hand over to the lovely Mama G for half an hour or so of just lovely, fun-filled, heartfelt stories. Enjoy. Over to you.
Fabulous. Hello, everyone. How lovely to see you all. Now, yes, allow me to introduce myself formally. My name is Mama G, and what I do is I go all over the country telling children and their families stories about being who you are and loving who you want. And, oh, I messed around and it's all gone wrong.
What have we done?
I don't know what I've done now.
You're still live on Facebook.
Oh, good. I just need to make.
I'm going to mute myself now, though, so that no one has to listen to my nonsense.
Fabulous. All right, we're back. We're back, darling. I'm going to try this one more time. I keep getting. No, it's fine. I'll just do it this way. Yes, and what I do is I go all over the country telling children and their families stories about being who you are and loving who you want. So what I want to know is who is ready for some stories? Oh, good. I know I am. And I tell you what, though, I've been terribly rude, haven't I? Because I've introduced myself to all of you, but I haven't asked any of you who you are. And I think if we're going to be friends, then I really ought to find out your name. So what I want you to do is after 3, I want you to shout out your names for me as loudly as you possibly can. All right, should we give it a go? Here we go. After 3. 1, 2, 3. Did you do it? I tell you what, let's try again. But this time, let's be even louder. And I think I know what will help. And that is if the grown-ups join in. Well, I'm a pantomime dame, darlings. It was bound to happen. Here we go. Even louder. After 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, wonderful. What are the chances, all you beautiful, gorgeous individuals here? And you're all called... That'll be 4 months in lockdown for you, won't it? Well, I am very excited that you are all able to join me here at the gorgeous Chicken and Frog Bookshop. Thank you ever so much for hosting me, my darlings. And also, if you'd like to say hello, obviously I can't really hear you through this, but you can get in the comments and I will endeavor to have a look at them as we're going through and make sure or maybe Chicken and Frog, maybe if people are saying hello on Facebook, perhaps you could pop it in the chat for me and then I will know to say hello to people. Now, it's time for my first story. Now, to tell you this story, I'm going to have to teach you some actions. And the actions are quite simple, but they're to a very well-known nursery rhyme, which does take a little Mama G twist, so don't get too comfortable. All right, so the actions go like this. Twinkle, twinkle, little roar. Let's try that one. Twinkle, twinkle, little roar. Very good. Let's carry on. How I love you more and more. Wonderful. Let's try that one. How I love you more and more. And let's put those two together. Twinkle, twinkle, little roar. How I love you more and more. Let's carry on. Up above the sky so high, you're the apple of my eye. Let's try that one. Up above the sky so high, you're the apple of my eye. Very good. And then we go back to the beginning. Twinkle, twinkle, little roar. How I love you more and more. Oh, wonderful. Now, who's thinking that we should try that with some music? Shall we give it a go? All right, let me just, of course, what happens is I put my speaker on and then it always turns off just before I need to use it. So it's just turning itself on. We've got the beeps. We'll have some music. Here we go. I can't see the music though, of course. Oh no. Oh, where have I put the music? Oh my darlings. Hold on. Hold on. Hold up. Mama G's made a mistake. But that's fine, my sweethearts. I'm just going to very quickly do some live tech in front of your very eyes. It's very exciting stuff, this, isn't it? The problem is that I also need to know the alphabet. Q-R-S-T. T. T. And then tree. There we go. There's one. I'm so sorry about this, my sweethearts. Now we just need to find L. This must be riveting stuff for you. Hello, if you're just joining us on Facebook. This is, it will get more entertaining shortly. All right, we're ready. So let's try it with the music. Here we go. Twinkle, twinkle, little roar, how I love you more and more. Up above the sky so high, you're the apple of my eye. Twinkle, twinkle, little roar, how I love you more and more. Oh, wonderful. Well, wasn't that worth a technical malfunction? Now I think you are ready for my first story, which is called, and this will come as no surprise to you, it is called Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Roar. Little Roar was a dinosaur, the smallest you could imagine. But he wasn't terribly fearsome, though, which was terribly out of fashion. And he wasn't really called Little Roar. He was really called T-Rex. But rather than bite and tear things apart, he liked to cuddle other T-Rex's necks. And some dinos thought this funny. They thought him really strange. They thought, you can't be cute, you dummy, else the history books must change. But our tiny dino friend thought nothing of it for a while. He'd bounce and skip and jump and hop. Being cute enough make you smile. And Mummy Rex did her best to ensure that Little Roar never found out his nickname was mean. She'd sing him a rhyme every time the truth came close to being seen. And I think we all know how that rhyme goes, except this time we're dinosaurs. Twinkle, twinkle, little roar, how I love you more and more. Up above the sky so high, you're the apple of my eye. Twinkle, twinkle, little roar, how I love you more and more. But as Little Roar grew up, the name grew with him too. And soon it wasn't just a name. It was who he was to boot. He became quiet, shy, and by the by, well, the other dinos never saw him. In fact, he became so invisible, you couldn't even say that they ignored him. But Mummy Rex wasn't worried. She knew he was her little star, and she knew that sometimes it takes a little time to work out who you are. Well, years went by and nothing happened. Then one day, just like that, a new T-Rex family moved in next door, and the mum wore outrageous hats. Little Roar swore he had never seen anything so delightful. Mummy Rex wasn't keen. She thought them obscene. In fact, she thought them frightful. But there was no denying these hats were a millinery miracle in action. They'd unleashed something in Little Roar, you could say a millinery passion. He spent hours recreating all the hats his neighbor would have on, and then he'd host a fashion show and invite the other dinosaurs along. Some would come to laugh and point, and some would take their neck in. But some would find that very soon getting in was very tricky. And after a while, Little Raw realized, well, he no longer heard the other dinos snigger. Thanks to his neighbor and her funny hats, his Little Raw was getting bigger. And his hats became so popular, he opened a store that bore his name. The hats went flying off the shelves. Little Raw had a claim to fame. Now, the lady dinos loved his hats, but the men were much less keen. Little Raw wore them, of course. But pause. What has he just seen? At the latest fashion show, something amazing has just happened. A boy Rex has walked in wearing a hat, and it's one that Little Raw fashioned. Well, of course they talk and have a chat, and of course the talk is all about hats. They smile and laugh and have a little flirt. Well, why not? Flirting never hurts. And Mummy Rex is watching. Oh, she can't believe what she is seeing, but gosh, it makes her proud. Whoever thought that one day her Little Raw would roar so loud? She sees him there fully formed, finally knowing who he is. He's the star that she had born, but all the burning bright is his. And now the name Little Raw has faded. Oh, it's faded oh so far, because when you work out who you are, you'll twinkle, twinkle like a star. And I think one more time, just for Little Raw, here we go. Twinkle, twinkle, little Raw, how I love you more and more. Up above the sky so high, you're the apple of my eye. Twinkle, twinkle, little Raw, how I love you more and more. Oh, I hope you enjoyed that story, because I absolutely love it. And to be honest, I do have to say that because I wrote it. And you can't go around saying, oh, I didn't like that story too much when you write it, can you? No, but as I wrote it, and as you listened so well, and I'm sure you joined in, I've brought another story with me, but this one has been written by somebody else. Yes, and it has pictures and everything. Well, it's very exciting times here at Chicken and Frog. Now, this book is called Boom Bang Royal Meringue, and it's by Sally Doran and Rachel Saunders, and it is provided courtesy of my good friends at Anderson Press. And I'm gonna use a bit of technology here, so keep your fingers crossed that it works. Let's see. Ooh. There's the cover of the book. It worked, my darlings. How exciting. Well, sit back and relax. Boom, bang, royal meringue. I said a boom, bang, royal meringue. I always have to do that when I tell the story. I don't know why. Okay, here we go. Young Princess Hannah grew up in a palace with her father, King Monty, and her mother, Queen Alice. She always said thank you and pardon and please. She ate all of her cabbage and parsnips and peas. I'm ever so proud, said the king to his wife. She's the finest young lady I've met in my life. The queen quite agreed, so they planned it together. Their daughter deserved the best birthday ever. Happy birthday, my dear. What a day, said the king. We've brought you this marvelous, wonderful thing. She ripped off the paper and pulled off the bow. What is it? She asked. Well, my dear, don't you know? It was big. It was gold. It had buttons and cogs. It had hundreds of dials and switches and knobs. And just look what's piped on the front, said the queen. The marvelous, magical pudding machine. Thank you, said Hannah. The king and queen smiled. They really had raised the most perfect child. That evening they threw her a big birthday ball in the palace's fabulous banqueting hall. Every young person from far and from wide was invited to dine by the princess's side. Well, now that the party is in full swing, bring forth the pudding machine, said the king. So the big gold machine was wheeled into view to the sounds of wow and look and ooh. The princess played with the buttons and knobs. She spun all the dials and turned all the cogs with a boom and a pop. A bright sparks filled the air, and out shot a glorious chocolate eclair. Then with a crash and a bang and a fizzle, out shot a pudding with caramel drizzle. Well done, my dear, said the king. What a show. Now, why don't we let all your friends have a go? But the princess climbed down straight away and said, no. The present is mine, the young royal howled, and she threw her tiara and pouted and scowled. She thumped her fists and stomped on the floor and threw all of her pudding and cakes at the door. Something's quite wrong. She's ill, the king said, as a bowl of rice pudding flew right past his head. No, said the queen, brushing cream from her hair. It seems we've forgotten to teach her to share. But hang on a minute. Whatever is that? Boom, bang, trumpity splat. The young guests were giving the buttons a bang, until out shot a huge pie with blackbirds that sang. The crowd said, goodness, and my, what a thing. And the princess stopped crying and smiled at the king. Just look at that pie. Wait for me, Hannah said, as she pushed her tiara back onto her head. She played with her friends, and to her surprise, together they made better puddings and pies. A jelly appeared with a boom and a pop, with fireworks shooting right out the top. Then out flew a pudding shaped like a boat, with a gingerbread castle complete with a moat. The big gold machine then coughed, shook, and spluttered. Good gracious, it's bulging, the king and queen muttered. With a boom and a bang came a sparkling pink cloud, and a hush spread through all the guests in the crowd. For a giant meringue, almost 20 feet tall, now sat on the floor of the banqueting hall. The crowd all cheered. Well, perhaps we should eat, said the queen to the king as she got to her feet. Fetch some meringue, the king said. Oh, yes, and some cherries and some berries. We'll have Eton mess. Ooh. So straight up the sugary face Hannah spat, and carved out some pieces as big as her head. A wonderful time was had by them all, as laughter and joy filled the banqueting hall. Just look at the time. It's late, the king said. It's time Princess Hannah was off to her bed. So she thanked all her guests and curtsied and bowed. What a charming princess she is, said the crowd. From that moment on, Hannah was good as can be, always sharing her cakes when her friends came to tea. And as for meringue, well, from what I hear, to eat the whole thing took the kingdom a year. The end. Oh, what a marvelous book that is. That was called Boom Bang Royal Meringue, and it's by Sally Doran and Rachel Saunders, and it is provided and published, of course, by the lovely people at Anderson Press. And I really think it is one of the very funniest picture books that you can buy at the moment. And also it's about one of my favorite things, dessert. So it's an absolute winner. And now It's time for my final story. And this is one of my favorite stories. It's written by me, but it's about one of my absolute favorite characters. And she is called Eunice the horse. Eunice the horse? Well, that's a silly sounding name for a horse, isn't it? Well, it hardly canters off the tongue like Bugs Bunny or Mickey Mouse or Ryan Reynolds. Wow! If we could just pause, please, for a moment's appreciation of Ryan Reynolds. But Eunice the horse? Oh, come on, what a silly sounding name. And Eunice thought so too. You see, Eunice knew she wasn't a horse. No, Eunice was a horse. She'd been born a horse. And she had horse parents. And on the Happy Hill farm, she lived in a field full of other horses. Oh, and I should tell you, the Happy Hill farm was actually run by probably the most famous farmer of them all. You have definitely heard of him. There's even a song about him. Yes, that's right. He is called Old MacDonald. So, you'll never guess what we're about to sing. Hit it, iPad. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had a horse, E-I-E-I-O. With a neigh-neigh here and a neigh-neigh there, here a neigh, there a neigh, everywhere a neigh-neigh. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. But the only problem was that Eunice knew she wasn't a horse. Eunice used to watch the other horses jumping over fences, and she thought, oh no, I'm not going to jump. I'd much rather fly. And Eunice used to watch the other horses trotting around the field, and she thought, oh no, I'm not going to trot. They kick up dust, and I'd much rather kick up magic. And wherever Eunice stepped in her field, she saw horse poop. And she thought, oh no, I'm not going to poop. Not until I can poop glitter. You see, Eunice knew she wasn't a horse, but the problem is that Eunice didn't know what she was supposed to be. And this made Eunice very, very sad. Well, one day, Eunice's best friend, Hortense the horse, now that is a good name for a horse. Well, one day, Hortense the horse decided to intervene. Eunice, said Hortense, there's a whole world out there, and I think it's time for you to explore it. So Eunice took a leap of faith and jumped over the fence with Hortense. And the two horses had barely landed when Hortense saw her best friend trotting off to investigate some large, pink, round objects that were playing in the mud. Now, at this point, I do need to introduce you to somebody rather important. I want you all to say a very big hello to Eunice, the horse. Everyone say, hello, Eunice. Hello, darling. Now, Eunice is going to investigate something that's large, pink, round, likes playing in the mud, and lives on a farm. Has anybody got any ideas what that might be? Well, there's only one way to find out. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had a pig, E-I-E-I-O. With a wink, wink here and a wink, wink there. Here a wink, there a wink, everywhere a wink, wink. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. So the two horses went into the pigsty and did what pigs do. They rolled around in the mud, they oinked and grunted, and they ate everything that was thrown at them. Well, eventually, Eunice realized that being dirty all the time really wasn't for her. You see, Eunice knew she wasn't a horse, but now she knew she wasn't a pig either. So the two horses went to the next field. Now, in the next field was something much bigger than a pig, quite often black and white, and might even help us with our breakfast, unless we're vegan. Who thinks they might know what that is? Well, there's only one way to find out. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had a cow, E-I-E-I-O. With a moo-moo here and a moo-moo there. Here a moo, there a moo, everywhere a moo-moo. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. So the two horses went into the cow's field and did what cows do. They sat down when they thought it was going to rain. They ate all the grass and they farted. So much. They thought they were about to destroy the planet. Well, eventually Eunice realized that eating so much grass you had to fart all the time really wasn't for her. So Eunice knew she wasn't a horse, but now she knew she wasn't a cow either. So the two horses went to the next field. Now in the next field was something smaller than a cow, quite woolly, and might even help us stay warm in the winter again, unless you're vegan. So who thinks they might know what that is? Well, there's only one way to find out. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had a sheep, E-I-E-I-O. With a baa-baa here and a baa-baa there. Here a baa, there a baa, everywhere a baa-baa. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. So the two horses went into the sheep's field and they did what sheep do. They got herded into another field by a dog. They blindly followed the other sheep around and they panicked every time they smelled mint. Well, eventually, Eunice realized that she was far too independent to be a sheep. You see, Eunice knew she wasn't a horse, but now she knew she wasn't a sheep either. And that night, Eunice cried herself to sleep. But that night, the sky was full of millions of stars. And that night, the northern star shone the brightest and cast a magical spell over Eunice and her friends. That night, Eunice's life changed forever. When she woke up, she felt different. She knew what she was supposed to be. She tried to wake up Hortense. Yeah! What is it? Hortense. Hortense, I know what I'm supposed to be, but I need your help to make the changes. Now, the first thing that Eunice needed was to be able to poop glitter and rainbows. So, the two horses galloped down to the farmhouse. Hortense did some reconnaissance to make sure that nobody was watching. And when she got the all clear, Eunice kicked the front door down and ransacked the house until she found the arts and crafts supplies. Well, Hortense was a little bit surprised to see her best friend eating glitter like it was the finest hay, but she knew not to question someone following their dreams. The second thing that Eunice needed was to be able to fly. Well, the two horses caused havoc in the chicken pen, plucking the birds of their feathers. Hortense was a little bit surprised to see her best friend sticking feathers to her back with glue from the farmhouse, but she knew not to question someone following their dreams. And the last thing that Eunice needed was a horn. But where was she going to get one of those from? They looked all over the farm and they couldn't see a rhinoceros or an antelope or a bison anywhere. Could this be the end of Eunice's dream? And then Hortense realized, turn that glue stick upside down. Well, even though it was her idea, Hortense was still a little bit surprised to see her best friend sticking a glue stick to her forehead, but she knew not to question someone following their dreams. Now, the transformation was complete. Who thinks they might know what Eunice has transformed into? Well, there's only one way to find out. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had a unicorn, E-I-E-I-O. With a wow-wow here and a wow-wow there. Here a wow, there a wow, everywhere a wow-wow. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Eunice the unicorn? Now that sounds right. Eunice the unicorn flew around the farm. The pigs oinked, the cows mooed, the sheep baaed, and the chickens, well, even though the chickens were now completely naked, they were proud. Proud to have helped someone become fabulous, and proud to have helped someone become who they were supposed to be. You see, Eunice knew she wasn't a horse because Eunice was a unicorn. And from that day, Eunice the unicorn never looked back. Oh, well, apart from when she farted glitter. But that's always worth looking back at. The end. Oh, everyone say goodbye, Eunice. Oh, bye, darling. Now, that was the story of Eunice the unicorn. Oh, I hope you enjoyed it. Now, I hope maybe you'll indulge me. I thought I would close with a song, well, maybe two songs. And this song, I've not actually sung it in public before, so this is a little bit of a Chicken and Frog exclusive, you see. But I've been telling the story of Eunice the horse for a little while, and a few weeks ago, my friend introduced me to a song by a 70s pop group, yes, called Peter, Paul and Mary, who I only vaguely knew who they were, I have to admit, because I'm not as old as I look, you see. And it was the perfect song for the story of Eunice and Hortense. And I wrote another story based on the song afterwards. But I thought I'd share the song with you now because it's just so lovely, if that's quite all right. Let me just turn up the volume on this so you can definitely hear the music. This is called The Unicorn Song. And first things first, I need you to imagine that Hortense is singing the first verse, okay? You ready, Hortense? Here we go. When I was growing up, my best friend was a unicorn. The others smiled at me and called me crazy. But I was not upset, knowing I did not conform. I always thought their seeing must be hazy. The unicorn and I would while away the hours, playing, dancing, and romancing in the wildflowers. And we'd sing, seeing is believing in the things you see. Loving is believing in the ones you love. Seeing is believing in the things you see. Loving is believing in the ones you love. And now, for the second verse, I hand you over to Eunice. When I was 17, my best friend was the Northern Star. The others asked why I was always dreaming. When I did not reply, I realized I was very far away from daily hurts and fears and scheming. The Northern Star and I would share our dreams together, laughing, sighing, sometimes crying in all kinds of weather. And we'd sing, seeing is believing in the things you see. Loving is believing in the ones you love. Seeing is believing in the things you see. Loving is believing in the ones you love. And now, Eunice and Hortense will sing together with you and me, maybe. Ready? And now that I am grown, my best friend lives inside of me. The others laugh at me and call me crazy. but I am not upset because I know I found the key. I've always known their seeing must be hazy. The friend inside and I will while away the hours, playing, dancing, and romancing in the wildflowers. Now, you can all sing along at home if you've picked up the chorus by now. And we'd sing, seeing is believing in the things you see. Loving is believing in the ones you love. Seeing is believing in the things you see. Loving is believing in the ones you love. Seeing is believing in the things you see. Loving is believing in the ones you love. One more time. Seeing is believing in the things you see. Loving is believing in the ones you love. Oh, gorgeous. Right, everyone say goodbye to Hortense and goodbye, Eunice. Oh, lovely. Now, I forgot to say right at the start, so I shall tell you now, that if you would like to find out more about me and follow my adventures, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. Just search for @Mama G Stories, and you can find me on YouTube as well. And if you would like to see me live and in person, well, you lucky people, I'm very excited that this Friday I am starting a run of 7 shows at the Warren, which is in Brighton, and it's going to be on the beach, outdoors, fully socially distanced, and I'm doing 7 shows between this Friday and September the 13th, so you can check out my Facebook as well for those dates. Now, I promise I am going to go in a minute, but I'm going to close my session in my traditional way, and that is by telling you that sometimes people will tell you that who you want to be and who you want to love are wrong. And when people say that to me, it can make me feel very upset, because people say that to adults as well, you know. But when people say it to me, what I think about is what makes me happy. Because the thing that makes me happiest is the thing that makes me me. And the same goes for you as well. And what makes me happiest is being a pantomime dame and getting to sit here and tell you all stories. So my next song is about how happy being a pantomime dame makes me. And you can definitely join in with the first verse, because you'll definitely know this bit. And then you can join in with the actions afterwards and have a little bit of a boogie. And I might even put on my disco lights if you fancy that. So this is my version of If You're Happy and You Know It. Here we go. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're tired of wearing hats, then wear a wig. Woo, woo. If you're tired of wearing hats, then wear a wig. Woo, woo. If you're tired of wearing hats, I could help you out with that. If you're tired of wearing hats, then wear a wig. Woo, woo. If sequins are your style, then shimmy and shake. Ooh. If sequins are your style, then shimmy and shake. Ooh. If sequins are your style, and they really make you smile. If sequins are your style, then shimmy and shake. Ooh. If you're good at telling jokes, then have a laugh. Ah, 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 ah. If you're good at telling jokes, then have a laugh. Ah, 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 ah. If you're good at telling jokes, better than the other folks. If you're good at telling jokes, then have a laugh. Ah, 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 ah. If you're feeling fabulous, then shout, I am, I am. If you're feeling fabulous, then shout, I am, I am. If you're feeling fabulous, just like the rest of us. If you're feeling fabulous, then shout, I am, I am. Thank you so much for having me. Go and support your local independent bookstore, Chicken and Frog, and I will see you all very soon.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mama G. That has brightened my morning.
My pleasure. And thank you ever so much for having
Wonderful.
me.
Thank you, darling. Have a lovely day. And we've had lots of lovely comments come through. I'll send them to you later.
Oh, fabulous. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Hang on, this always takes me a second because I'm terrible at it. This is where you just wave uncomfortably for a second. That's it. Lovely. Glorious. Bye.